The next question, the member for Cambridge.
Thank you, Speaker. Good morning. My question is for the Premier. A couple of weeks ago, before the long weekend, the government unveiled a roadmap to reopening, which actually contained no indication of when life would get back to normal or fully reopen. And at the same time of the press conference, the government began debate to extend emergency powers under Bill 195, the Reopening Ontario Act, until December. In the plan, they have followed with the approach of Justin Trudeau and Dr. Theresa Tam, linking vaccine rates to a limited return to some everyday activities, but have not indicated how many Ontarians receiving a vaccine it will take to allow for life to return to normal, if they ever plan to let life return to normal. If 80% of Ontarians receiving a vaccine is not enough for a return to normal under this plan, what is the number? Is it 100%?
And to respond, the Minister of Health.
Thank you, Speaker, and thank you to the member for the question. Well, the roadmap to reopen is based on vaccination rates, of course. To get into stage 1, we need to reach 60% of all adults over 18 having been vaccinated, which has already happened. We're at least at 67% as of things stand now, with over 9.2 million vaccines already have been administered. But there's also some public health indicators that also need to be met in terms of the number of new cases. Today, we are down to 699 cases, which is a huge improvement. There still is a ways to go, but it's also based on number of people being admitted to our intensive care units, the R factor, the public health ability to recover, but these are realistic indications and numbers based on what our medical experts have advised us and what the modelling has shown us. So we are gradually and carefully reopening because the last thing we want to go into is a fourth wave. But we have been advised that the levels that we have suggested for the roadmap to reopen is realistic and achievable.
And the supplementary question.
Speaker, with this government, the goalposts are always moving. In January 2021, we were told life would get back to normal with 1,000 positive cases per day. By May, we heard it was 500 to 600 cases. Now, apparently, case rate has nothing to do with it. As the minister just said, it's about vaccine rates. But the fine print of the government's plan, as again she said, also says plus key health indicators. This vagueness is not a plan. And coupled with the extension of emergency orders until December, it suggests they have no plan to reopen our province. Can the Premier please publicly disclose to Ontarians what is meant by these plus key health indicators, part of the plan, that is in addition to vaccine rates? We want exact numbers. This is a limited reopening plan. What is it dependent on?
Minister of Health.
Thank you. Well, the road to reopen is very clear, with 3 stages that we will need to move through very carefully in order to be able to reopen the province. We've seen what's happened with the variants of concern that are still out there, that we need to move very, very carefully through this to slowly, gradually reopen the province. But as the member would see from stage 3, that we are going to then be opening the last areas that haven't been opened for a very long time, things like closed-in cinemas, concerts, all of those other areas that will be met and will be available based on these achievable targets that have been very clearly disclosed to the people of Ontario. In addition to the vaccination rates, there's the hospitalization rates, the ICU factors, the public health rates, the R factor. All of those have been very, very clearly discussed with the people of Ontario. And as I indicated earlier, these are realistic and achievable targets. The people of Ontario are helping very much with receiving the vaccinations. We've been able to accelerate the second doses, and we are confident that we'll be able to hit these milestones and be able to open Ontario back up at the appropriate.
Thank you. The next question, the member for Brampton West.